Silent Hope, which I keep calling A Silent Hope, is coming early next month and is a game I wasn't really interested in. Seeing the trailer in a prior direct got my attention with the character designs until they chipified them, so not even the Bokujo Monogatari cows could convince me of much. Luckily a demo dropped just the other day, so I finally get to see what the game is for myself and decide if I want it or not. Story-wise, basically there's a big abyss that the last king went and ran off into, and his daughter was so sad she encased herself in her tears until many years later, 7 heroes heard her cries, and honestly, I wish they didn't. She's very annoying. Like, in order to hear her talk in the dungeon I have to stand still in these spots, and whenever I'm using facilities she'll constantly have to say something about it, usually the same, so I turned her voice off. Which I think there's supposed to be something about the words of the world being taken, so maybe that's why the only person talking is doing it telepathically. Silent Hope is a dungeon crawling action RPG, the kind with randomized floors, but every so often you'll get a little campfire checkpoint that you can safely leave the dungeon and come back to that point of progress, which in the demo was only the 6th floor. Of course there are also other points of escape, which are these crystals you can use to return to the surface, or tag in another character, but doing so breaks the crystal. I'm a little disappointed there wasn't any kind of party system, and it's just one character at a time. I played as the farmer because she has a pitchfork, which is a pretty useful weapon. Gameplay wise it's quite basic, there's a regular attack and then you gain and level up skills of which you can equip 3. Dodging doesn't go through enemies, but thankfully one of my skills does, which was good since the enemies track you a fair while and they can kinda pile up in the hallway like layouts. I'm thinking other than gameplay variety, as the classes and thus weapons and skills are unique to each character, the main reason you'd want to grind out at least 2 or 3 other characters is so that you can tag in with the others. At the start of a floor, you can take on an extra challenge, which was usually just to kill so many enemies or use a skill a couple of times, stuff I do anyway, but then you get more XP for it. There were also optional harder areas that were definitely harder. There's one boss in the demo whose design I adored, as it's a giant hermit crab with the bottom of a boat as its shell. Took me the second try as there were no direct to floor teleports on his floor for whatever very rude design choice. The main reason to even bother leaving the dungeon is that you don't get to keep most of your items if you die, and to use the facilities. As throughout the dungeon you'll collect blueprints and tons of resources that need to be manually processed, which is what all the other slackers are doing while you're risking your life. And you'll need to spend time in the abyss in order for these supplies to be made. Aside from equipment, you can also create food which is applied before an expedition to give run-long buffs. I tried out this demo because I kinda wanted it to win me over after losing my interest with the art style, and throughout the dungeon you'll see different monsters from the Rune Factory series, but I'm not sure that approach was the best as the farming and crafting are all very hands-off, and just some menu options to help you make your progress better. It doesn't appear that the characters really interact, and so far the only characterization we are getting is from the princess, who I don't really care for. To me it looks kind of weird because there's a window into the crystal, and I think her speaking to me would have looked better if she was more obscured. I'm also wondering if her name is Frederica, because that's the Japanese name for the game. So yeah, the demo didn't turn me off the game, but it didn't really attract me to it either. It is a budget title that is slightly more in its favour, and I might have given it a try if I wasn't going to PAX Oz the week when it comes out, but there's so much coming out in the next few months, I think I'll have to give it a pass. The demo is out now on the Nintendo Switch eShop, so let me know if you've played it and who you played as, and whether or not it's convinced you, or, better yet, any other games in this style that you like. Anyway, I apologise for using the terms preview instead of demo impressions, but that seems to be what everybody else does. Thanks for watching, and look forward to some other demo impressions soon. Bye! Ha 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 ha.